All right. So, how is the application process like? I mean, for someone who, for example, has finished his undergraduate program in Ghana and wants to, you know, go on and pursue either a master's or a PhD, right from the undergraduate level. How is the application process like?
Okay, so I would say the first step in the application process would be definitely gathering your documents, so statements of purpose, CV, letters of recommendation. Um, yeah, I think those are sometimes to personal history. For some schools, they want your personal history statement. Those are some of the documents that most of these US schools need. So when you get those documents now, it's up to you to look for a group that is doing research in something that you are interested in. And so once you do that, you can apply to these schools. But sometimes it's more important to really reach out to the faculty members and try to get their attention and say, I'm doing stuff here and my work is synonymous to what you are doing. Maybe not entirely, but it's synonymous, and I have the background to to be part of your research lab. And it's a lot of growing experience. Sometimes you can join a lab and it's like there's a lot of things to learn, but still you have a certain foundation, and I feel like it's good. So you reach out to the faculty members, you organize your documents. Usually, if you get a positive response from the professor, that's a great thing, and you are more confident when you're applying.
Okay, all right. So, was it a requirement for you to identify a supervisor or would say an advisor before applying for the program?
For Georgia Tech, it was not a requirement. Actually, I did get in, but I was funded by like a TA-ship, graduate teaching assistantship.
Okay.
But then later on, like whilst you're in the school, it's very easy to look for an advisor afterwards.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
Usually applications will be, I mean, the postings will be made to your emails and like, who's interested in joining this research lab? And you apply, and maybe after an interview, after speaking to people in the lab, and then you can join them. Yes.
Before we even move to the specifics of the application, uh, is the program fully funded in terms of like tuition, stipend? Is everything covered?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's good to know. So, among all the other programs you applied to, I mean, which ones did you get into?
So I got into University of Pennsylvania, definitely Georgia Tech, Northwestern University, and finally University of Virginia.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And all those schools were prepared to provide you with funding and stipend, right?
Yes, most of them had like generous offers, but they were ranging like
Mhm.
perhaps 30%, 40%. So, at the end, it was a decision I had to make to consider the one that would evidently give you the most funding opportunity, and also the one that is closer to your interest too as well. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. So I know you've made mention of your statement of purpose, your CV, recommendation letters, and then getting in touch with supervisors or advisors. That also is helpful. Can you walk us through how, I mean, for someone looking to do a PhD in engineering, what are the highlights of your statement of purpose?
Okay, I think for the statement of purpose is really a lot of it has to do with the kind of story that you are telling. I feel like you can have something very meaningful that you want to say and you want to get across, but you have to be able to express yourself in a very unique manner that will grab the attention of the people that are reading your statement of purpose. And so it falls on you to be able to do that. So I remember in my own, mostly, and they'll tell you, and that's what I did, to start with a very engaging story, right? You have so many projects, you have so many different things you want people to know about you, but now the story is important. The story that you're crafting is important. So write your own story in the best way possible. I think that's the overall arching theme of the SOP. Um, you have it's more like it's your CV that you are writing in a very engaging way with a great story behind it that will attract people to want to read it and buy into what you are selling. Yeah.
Okay. So, in terms of recommendation, did you get all your recommenders from Ashesi, or you got other recommended from other places?
All three of them were from Ashesi. I remember two of them I made it more academic focused. So two
Mhm.
of them were faculty members that have taught me in the past. And the last one was more because I used to work at the career services office at Ashesi. So the last one was more a supervisor role, like someone who has seen me work and knows my work ethic. So I was selective in that regard. So two that are academic, we know that he can do the work,
Mhm.
and one that is more like supervisory role, like how is his demeanor for work, how is he like, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so apart from these requirements, did you have to write any specific exam like GRE or anything like that?
No, most of them. So that was one of the things. Like, I knew I didn't have enough time for that 1 year period. So I targeted schools that didn't require GRE or TOEFL or
Okay.
specific examinations. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good. Good. So, during the application process, were there any particular challenges you faced, or were there any instances where you think if you had to do the process again, you would slightly change certain components?
Yes, yes. I would say um, mostly it was like not hearing back from some faculty, right? You've tried your best to send them a very engaging email, but some of them don't get back to you. I think that shoots your confidence down a little bit. Moving into your other applications, you're like, I didn't get responses from one or two, so I don't think the others will respond to me as well. So I guess if I could do it again, I would start very early. I would reach out to promising labs that I feel like this lab is doing work that I really, really enjoy, and then so that you can get accepted as soon as possible. Because that's I feel like is the most important part of the application. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You've successfully gone through the process. Now you are in the US. Is this your first time in the US?
Yes, please.
Okay, and you came in at a time where when the weather was cold, right? So
Yeah,
so how are you coping with the winter? I know Atlanta is not very cold, but I mean, for some
yeah.
coming from Ghana, it's too cold for us. So how are you coping with the cold?
Yeah, it's honestly very cold. Like you said, relatively, right? Relatively
Yeah,
to Ghana, I think Ghana the temperatures will be like maybe 27 degrees, 24. But now you're heading here and it's like -3 degrees on some days, and it's like oof, very very cold, very very cold. Sometimes I remember one day our heater wasn't working too properly, and indoors was so cold, and it just stunted like our what's it called, our productivity. It's like you feel like, oh, I need to just lie down and just hibernate. But no, I think it gets better. It gets better, and also knowing how to dress too is very important. So with all of that, I think it's it makes it best. Yeah.
okay. So are there specific like meals or foods that you've identified in the US that is currently becoming part of your of, of your delicacy, or you're still eating Ghanaian food?
Um, I I mixed it up a little because I'm happy to say that the church that I attend here is like mostly Ghanaians.
Okay.
There's a nice culture there. I remember when it was Christmas time, and then the church elders invited us to their house, mostly watch it, jollof, like you're seeing things that
Yeah.
are very,
Yeah.
very, very, very exciting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I think other than that, usually what I've been eating a lot of, maybe I'm not too proud of it, is pizza. Like had a lot of pizza, had a lot of that.
Yeah. I
But
mean.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
but still, my roommate is also Ghanaian too as well.
Okay.
We meet him in a bit. That's actually Jude. Um, he does so much of the cooking too as well. He can cook different kinds of Ghanaian meals. So we
Ah.
are still, yes, yes, yes. When you talk to him, you find out. But still, it means like we are all still in the loop. We all still get to eat those kinds of foods from day to day, and it's a fun experience.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Um, but let's talk about your specific research interest. So currently, what are you focusing on at Georgia Tech? What do you intend to get from this PhD program?
Yes, that's a very good question. So currently I'm in a biosensors lab. So it's predicated on most of the things I did in undergrad in regards to PCB designing, electronics interfacing. But then there's a lot of other stuff I also have to learn as I go. So for example, I did lots of sensors and designs, but it was not related to bioelectronics most of the time. But right now, that I'm trying to bridge the gap between those two, and so that's mostly what my research is focused on now. So health patches that can detect different sweats from athletes and be able to predict the kinds of meals or regiments that they should be put on. So it's a combination of a lot of things. Wearable electronics. So for example, the Apple Health watches that you're seeing, all the different components that go into it. I have to like learn and understand and be conversant with that so that my research can really take off. And should my research really take off, that means I'll be in this kind of field where because wearable electronics and things pertaining to people's health is very important.
Yeah. Hmm.
As you would probably
Yeah.
agree with, yeah,
Mhm.
pertaining to health is very important. So you know, how would I be able to contribute to the health industry? I'm not someone who is like well into pharmacy or something, but it's more like using the electronics knowledge to bridge the gap, and that's what I'm doing currently in my lab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds really interesting, and that seems to be where we are going. I mean,
Hmm.
developing sensors that can even detect sugar level, blood pressure, and all that
Yeah.
in the future. So that is really a very intriguing place